That looks so gross. Hello my lovelies, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well today. So my topic or conversation for this video is about hypermobilities. Basically, I just felt like I had to talk about this topic quite a bit, purely just because it's something that affects me quite a lot and I want to kind of raise awareness for it because I don't think people understand how much hypermobilities can affect different things in your life. I'm no way creating this video to say, oh, poor me. I don't like people feeling sorry for me, I just kind of get on with my life. So the thing that inspired me to create this video today was the fact that when I was at Move It, I was staying in my cousin's flat with my mum where we were both in a double bed. So I was moving around for constantly like an hour. Mum kept saying to me, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, this is just how I sleep. She turned around to me and said, wow, I didn't know that that was such a big deal for you. Like, I didn't know that it affected you that much. The reason why I wanted to talk about this was because, like, not even my mum understood, like, how much hypermobilities actually affects me. I'm also injured at the moment. I injured my ankle literally by walking. My foot went over at the ankle and the ligament slipped across the bone, which is something that's happened to me quite a lot before. So later on in the video I will be talking about previous injuries and stuff like that. For those of you who don't know what hypermobilities is a joint condition where your joints can be very loose and supple, they can sublux and dislocate easily, and it's because of the type of collagen that is in your joints, which is type 3 collagen, and it just means that everything's a lot stretchier. It's not just as simple as you have joints that can like do that. And it's not just a cool like trick thing, it's quite debilitating. And I think that's something that people don't think about a lot. It's because, like I said, I'm not one to complain, so I don't go around complaining, saying, oh, I'm in pain. I don't talk about it as much as I should, I don't think, so that's basically what I'm doing this video on. So one of the things about hypermobilities is that I can't stand up or sit down for long periods of time. I cannot stand for probably more than 15 minutes without being in pain, or sit for like 15 minutes without being in pain. So I constantly have to stand up and sit down, and that's because my joints will just lock and then I won't be able to like move them. For example, in one of my history GCSEs, I was actually writing my exam, my shoulder dislocated. I'm fine with moving and dancing because I'm constantly, like, my joints are in a state of flux, so I could constantly be moving and they'll be fine because they're not staying in one place. Like, my muscles, when they stay in one place, will just freeze up. Another part of hypermobilities is that you bruise super easily. My vessels and everything like that are also super stretchy because it's the skin that's also very mobile. Vessels can burst easily and I can bleed quite a bit. And like I was saying earlier, it takes a while for you to actually be able to sleep, so I have probably the worst sleep schedule ever, and it's purely because I can't find the correct position to go into sleep in. And half the time when I wake up in the mornings after I have slept, something will be dislocated because I stayed in a position too long. For example, my jaw dislocates quite a lot. Sometimes in my hands as well, I can't close or open them. I'll go to close it and then it will snap like that. Probably the most noticeable thing about my hypermobilities is how much I have to click everything. I have to click pretty much every bone in my body every 30 minutes, otherwise it starts to hurt. And this is a thing that I've never explained to anyone. Like, I first explained this to my mum the other day. When I don't click something, it will genuinely hurt, not just in that place but in the whole part of my body. So for example, if I don't click my fingers, which really need to click at the moment, sorry that's rank, if I don't click my fingers, then my wrist and my elbow and my shoulder will hurt. If my shoulder needs to click, it will hurt my collarbones here, it will hurt my back, it will hurt my spine. So the sensation is kind of like your body's like constantly aching. Sometimes it can be a really bad like stabbing pain that I have to get rid of. Obviously a massive part of that is I know people are so freaked out by like joints and clicking and stuff like that. Like I completely understand, it is gross. I constantly have to apologise for it, and I think it's quite like crazy how I have to apologise for making sure that I'm not in pain.
Oh god, I just tried to click it and it was like on the verge of clicking and then I just didn't click.
Obviously I completely understand that people don't like the sound of it. There's a lovely click for you there. Previous videos that I've done, I have literally cut out moments where I stop and I'm in pain and click things, so I'm gonna try and make this as unedited as possible so you guys can kind of understand what I'm going through this entire time. Oh. See, I can't even sit down for this long. Oh, let me just stretch. Hypermobilities doesn't just affect joints and skin and stuff like that, it also has a big impact on hormones and mental health. There's been a big correlation that's been found between people who with hypermobilities and people who have anxiety, because apparently you get triggered into a fight or flight response easier.
So something I forgot to add in here is apparently people with hypermobilities have abnormally sized regions of the brain which hold the pain receptors and also triggers for their anxiety. Faulty blood vessels cause pooling in the legs, which initiates cardiovascular responses, similar to that as when people have anxiety attacks.
A lot of you also know that I've been suffering from migraines quite badly recently. Migraines cause me to not be able to see and I get intense pain and I usually throw up. That is also probably to do with my hypermobilities. I found that it's related to the amount of hormones that are going through my system.
Hypermobilities also causes a lot of neurological difficulties. For example, I have POTS, which means every time I stand up, I pretty much faint because my blood vessels stretch so much that blood doesn't get to my brain quick enough. I've also done some research and apparently dyslexia is quite common within people with hypermobilities, which explains quite a lot because as I was growing up, I could never read things and my eyes would always jump lines whenever I tried to read.
And I know people will find this gross to talk about, but we're humans and this is like a natural thing. But when people with hypermobilities have their periods, everything can be intensified and pain is a lot more heightened.
Weather and air density also affect hypermobilities.
Ow. The injury that I currently have was hormone related because everything was a lot more supple and a lot easier to dislocate and pop out of the sockets. So, segueing on from my current injury, I have had a similar injury before where I explained in my Q&A video where I went to go do a needle and I pulled my leg too far to one side and the ligament slipped over the bone. It's an injury that I keep having, which really sucks, and it keeps happening in different places. So when I used to do musical theatre, there was a show week during March, I want to say, and during that show week, one of the injuries that I contracted was my rib dislocated. I didn't do anything excessive, and this is what I have to keep stressing to people. So this was during the production of Hairspray, and so during that show week, my rib popped out and I first started to notice it because I started having an asthma attack. Then I started to realise that this whole side of my body started hurting. I didn't go to A&E or anything because stuff like this is quite common. Maybe really gross for me to say, but my rib dislocated inwards and it started putting pressure on my lungs. So my body just tends to like to self-destruct. Because I don't make a big deal about things, I feel like people tend to not believe me about certain things to do with my hypermobilities. Ow. What was that? My ankle, bro. That was fun. For example, 2 or 3 years ago, I did a dance show, and a couple of weeks before the show, I had dislocated my knee in an acro class, and I couldn't walk on that leg for a week or 2 weeks, but I was so determined to do this dance show, like you guys don't even understand. Couldn't walk and I was dosing up on pain relief and I had so much paracetamol that I got an acid burn in my stomach. On the show day, I started throwing up and I couldn't eat for the entire day. I was in this agony with my knee. I still pushed myself and I went to the dance show I did half of the dress run and then 2 full shows, I think it was, and I did it all on this knee. The reason why I'm saying all of this is because people were like to me, oh, it can't hurt that much if you're dancing on it. I feel pain a lot of the time. If I'm injured, I'm like, oh, it's more pain. It's not a massive deal in my life that I'm gonna go around complaining saying, oh, I'm in pain, oh, I'm injured. Someone pity me, like, I don't want to be pitied. The current injury that I have at the moment as well, when I went back into school, I started walking around on it like normal, and people were saying to me, oh, if it hurt that much you wouldn't be walking on it. Thing is that, yeah, it does hurt that much, but I am walking on it. My body is so delicate that if I have an injury and if I limp on something, then I'm more likely to dislocate the other leg. I was in a lot of pain, but I'm just not going to talk about it because that's just going to bore you. When I was 10 or something like that, I was on my roller skates and I fell backwards and I caught my body weight on my wrist, and my wrists are tiny, look how small they are, they're literally tiny. Bit of a weird child, so I really wanted to have a plaster cast somewhere. A week after I'd fallen and hit my hand, I said to my mum, I'm in pain, can we go to A&E? Because I really just wanted a plaster cast. My hand didn't hurt any more than normal. And so we went to A&E and they did an x-ray and I had chipped my bone. I did not feel a difference in my body because that is just constantly the kind of pain and stress that my joints are under. I really don't want this video to be a whole boo-hoo, poor girl, she feels pain and stuff like that. I just want to get this out as an awareness thing because people with hypermobilities don't talk about it enough. Like, it hurts a lot, but I still dance on it because dancing is a kind of pain relief for me physically and mentally. Stopping dance would be a lot more detrimental to my joints than if I carried on.
Something else that I really forgot to mention in this video, which is kind of ridiculous, is the fact that it's so difficult to digest things if you have hypermobilities. It's difficult being able to find food that you can eat because the epithelial linings get easily agitated, so I throw up quite a lot whenever I eat, which a lot of my friends know.
So thank you so much for listening to my little rant about hypermobilities. Thanks for letting me explain kind of my experiences with it, and if you have hypermobilities, then I would really love for you guys to comment down below and talk about your experiences. Please subscribe if you would like, give it a like if you liked it or learnt something new from this video, and if you know anyone with hypermobilities then please share this video with them or with anyone else. I hope you have a lovely day and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!